What is up, my friends? Kyle Smith, Arizona drummer here, and we are back with another drumhead shootout video. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, we posted this video right up here where we did a batterhead shootout testing out the Evans G1, G12, and G2 coated drumheads on the toms. We heard what they sounded like isolated, we heard what they sounded like all together, and we got to kind of compare what the difference in number of plies and the thickness of those plies do to the overall tonality, but also the feel of each of those drums. But in part two, our friends at Sweetwater have sponsored this video by providing us with a bunch of snare drum batterheads that we are going to put to the test and hear and feel what the difference is between the different drum heads. So you may be wondering, Kyle, what drum heads did we get? Well, let's take a look. All right, guys, so like I mentioned a second ago, here are the drum heads we are going to test in our batterhead shootout. First things first, we have the Evans G1. This is a single ply drum head. It's coated, of course. It has one ply of 10 mils, so it's relatively thin. In fact, you can kind of hear that on the camera, I believe, but again, this is a single ply coated drum head that a lot of folks use on their snare drums, especially if they want that sensitivity, that tonality, the resonance, the sustain, and maybe aren't as concerned with muffling and things like that. Then we're gonna go up to the tried and true, the beautiful G2. This is a 2-ply coated drum head, 7 mils or 7.5 mils each. I think it's 7 mils each, so 14 mil total. You can kind of hear that. A little bit thicker, and it's a little bit more durable. It's gonna do a little bit of self-dampening for you, and you're gonna go ahead and get a lot more durability out of this drum head. Then we're going back into single ply coated territory with the UV1. So what's great about this is, even though this is a single ply drum head, it's 10 mils just like the G1, but it's got this special UV coating on there. So it's gonna have a very balanced attack like the G1, it's gonna have a long sustain like the G1, it's also gonna have a brighter tone like the G1, but it's got extended durability because of that UV coating. So the UV1 series is a drum head that I used on my tours with Zombeast. I really like the fact that it's durable, but it has that attack and sustain, and I really like the way it sounds, especially on metal drums. So I'm excited to put this to the test head to head against the G1 and the G2. But then we kick things up a notch with the heavyweight snare drum. What's great about this is made specifically for the snare. It's 2 plies of 10 mils each, so where the G2 is 14 mils total, this is 20, so much thicker. As you can see there, much more defined attack, super short sustain. It's gonna be a little bit on the brighter side, but extremely durable. It's also got a reverse dot in there to help with dampening and with durability. So here is the drum head itself. I mean, again, there is a reason why a lot of us heavy hitters use this drum head. It sounds incredible. Like, I mean, it's basically dead in there, and it does a really good job of pre-dampening the snare drum to control those tones, but also that durability is next to none. Last, but certainly not least, I get to try out a drum head I've never used on this channel. In fact, I've never used this drum head ever in my time as a player, and that is the Evans hybrid coated drum head. Now, what's so crazy about this one, you guys, is it actually features a weave of 2 unique fibers. Now, this has Kevlar in it. I mean, it is like extremely durable. This is probably the most durable drum head on the market in general. This is used by a lot of the pros out there. Again, super defined attack, short sustain, very dark, and that durability is extreme. Now, it's only 1 ply, but it's 14 mils, so it's very thick. It's as thick as our G2, but only 1 ply, so very thick. It's got that aramid fiber weave in there. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. But look at that, oh my God. You can feel it. Let me see if you can hear that on the mic. Like, yeah, so this has that fiber, that weave in there, the fibers in there. Again, this is the hybrid drum head. You can actually see on the rim there where the kind of carbon fiber, like Kevlar-ish type stuff, has wrapped around the metal hoop here. This thing, I mean, this thing is extremely thick. It's very heavy, very durable, and I'm super stoked to finally get to try out the Evans hybrid drum head. And just like that, guys, those are the 5 heads that we are going to test today. But before we get into that, a big thank you to my friends over at Sweetwater. They are the best place to go to pick up all things drum heads. They have all the different kinds of Evans heads, whether it's drum head packs, batter heads, resonant heads, snare heads, also their pure sound snare wires, bass drum heads, all kinds of goodies that you can find right there at sweetwater.com. And I'll have all of them linked down below, all the heads we used today, but then also all the heads that I have on the kit, on the kick drum, on the rack toms, tops, and bottoms, so you can pick these drum heads up for yourselves. But again, guys, a big thank you to Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get into the shootout. All right, guys, so now we've got the G1 on the snare drum. And so we're gonna go ahead and hear what that sounds like. And again, this is a single ply coated head, 10 mils on this snare drum head. And we're gonna hear what it sounds like with the snare wires off first. And keep in mind, again, resonant head is tuned with lug locks on it or rock locks on it. And again, we have a new pure sound snare wire. All right, guys, and now we've got the G2 up on the drum here, and we got tuned exactly the same. I'm using a tune bot for that. I'll put the hertz somewhere on the screen, but we're using a tune bot. Snare wires on.
strokes. I can't do double strokes worth a damn. So, like, those are super clean. The rebound's actually pretty nice. That's pretty good.
right, guys, so now we've got the Evans UV1 single ply, so you get that nice bounce and rebound that you get from a single ply drum head. But because of the UV coating, it's got the extra durability, which again, for somebody like me who hits really hard, that's absolutely necessary. Already love the way that sounds. Snare wire's on. So now we've got the Evans heavyweight snare head on. This is actually the head that I have on my chrome over brass snare that I use live. And the reason why that's on there is because, again, it's 20 plies. It's 2 plies, 10 mils each. So not 20 plies, 20 mil. And this is known for being super, super durable. All right, guys, so now we have the Evans hybrid drum head on here. What's so special about this one is it has an aramid fiber, like a carbon fiber weave almost, inside the drum head. So this thing is built for durability. I have never played one of these before. All right, my friends, and that closes up today's Evans snare drum batter head shootout. Guys, first and foremost, huge thank you to Evans Drumheads, Diodario, and of course Sweetwater for sponsoring today's video. Now, I do have to say to each and every single one of you, please make sure to do what we just did today. Test out and try out as many different drum heads as you can to figure out what feels, sounds, and responds the best to you and your playing. Now, we tested out 5 snare heads in here, but there are dozens and dozens of other snare heads that Evans provides that are available on Sweetwater.com as well as at the Player Circle on Evans' website. I also really love the ST Dry, which we didn't even include today. Also the HD Dry, also not included today, as well as the Onyx, also not included today. So again, there are lots of drum heads that I recommend you check out and try for yourself and see what feels the best. But if I were to pick today's winner, it would be the UV1. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but first let's talk about some of the other heads. So what I loved about the G1, for example, is it's a single ply, it's 10 mils, it's very thin, so the durability does come into question a little bit, but the playability feels really great. It doesn't do a lot to control the tone. Again, it's a thinner head, so muffling is almost guaranteed if you're looking for that muffled sound. Obviously, if you want it to be wide open and have some of those overtones and a little bit of ringing, then absolutely, go wide open. That's where the G2 kind of comes in. It's thicker, it's got 14 mils with 2 plies of 7, so being a little bit thicker, the durability is much, much higher. The tone kind of comes down a little bit. There's a little bit more muffling in there, a little bit more control, but the playability is not as responsive as the single ply head. Again, it's not a huge difference, but there is a difference there. Skipping the UV1 and going to the heavyweight for a second, that was the thickest drum head we tried today. So 20 mil, 2 plies of 10 mil each with the reverse dot right in the center. That thing is built for durability. It's built for heavy hitters. It's really built for rock and heavy metal. It sounds really, really good. It's got a lot of its own body to it. So it's a very hefty snare drum head. It's very, very durable. And again, it sounds really, really great on the drum, especially with that reverse dot. All of these heads feel incredible. But there is a difference as the plies get thicker, and of course, as the drum heads themselves get thicker, which brings us to the hybrid. Now this snare head blew me away. As I was kind of putting it on the drum, getting it tuned up, I was like, how is this gonna sound? Because it doesn't feel like a traditional head with that weave in there, that fiber in there. But once we got it cranked up to the 230, I mean, it sounded awesome. It was like super punchy, super attack. It was like a cannon. Every time I hit it, it was like, whoa, I had all this rebound in my hand. I mean, it was a really, really fun drum to play, and I could see that playing. I could see me using that drum head in metal gigs or rock gigs, because again, it's a cannon. It makes your snare drum sound like it's going to explode with every hit, and those rim shots were like unbelievable with that snare drum head. But that brings us back to the UV1, and why I chose that as my winner for today is it has a nice balance of everything. It's 10 mils single ply, so it's thin like the G1, but it's got that special UV coating, which I'm a sucker for the UV line. I love the UV2s on my toms, and evidently I love the UV1 on my snare. But what I love about the UV coating is that it really increases durability. We beat the hell out of that drum, and we saw stick marks and evidence of usage on every other head except for the UV1, because again, that special coating really helps with the durability. Now, I may be a little bit biased. I used the UV1 all over the world with Zombies, but again, I just love the way it feels under the hands, a lot of rebound. It really gives you a lot of energy. It kind of almost matches the energy you put in, it gives back to you. So it really makes those fast rolls really comfortable. I love the tonality of it because again, it's that nice mix of resonance with a little bit of that muffling in there. And I like the brightness and the attack of the tones. So again, that's my personal taste. That's my personal preference. What's so great about these shootout videos and about being able to test out these drum heads for yourselves is you can figure out what your taste is, what your sound is, what your feel is. But again, guys, the purpose of this video is one, to showcase awesome products that Evans has, a huge range of snare drum heads, and all of their tom heads can be used as snare heads as well, by the way, so make sure to test that out for yourself. But we didn't even scratch the surface on what Evans has, so make sure go to sweetwater.com and look at all of the awesome products that Evans offers when it comes to snare drum heads, tom heads, kick heads, and everything in between, because again, the only way to find the best drum head is to find the one that's best for you, for the music you're playing, and for what feels best in your hands. But with that, my friends, that's going to close up today's video. So if you liked it, make sure to like this video, leave a comment down below. What was your favorite drum head? What drum head do you want to try out? Maybe what drum heads do you want to see me try out on the channel and put head to head with some of these other ones on here? Again, we didn't even scratch the surface. There's so many other heads we could look at. So let me know, what's your drum head of choice? What was your favorite that we tested today? And what drum heads do you want to see on the channel? As well as, should we do a part 3 where we bring it down low on the kick drum and try out different batter heads on the kick drum to see what sounds and feels the best? Let me know if that's something you're interested in. But in the short term, my friends, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos come up. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see all of you in the next one.